Hello, hello. Welcome to this edition of the Cancer Coach Talks. I'm your host, Leslie Nance, and tonight we're going to talk about getting out of crisis mode, how to do it, what are my top 3 tips for that, and really how to start bossing your cancer around. It's really good to be here with you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Let me do a quick introduction. My name is Leslie Nance. I am a 7-year cancer survivor. I am a holistic nutritionist, certified holistic nutritionist, and certified holistic cancer coach. And I come here on Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. Central Time, most Tuesday nights, for these talks called the Cancer Coach Talks. I am the founder of Any Stage Cancer Protocol, which is a one-on-one coaching sessions through your cancer journey. So I will be giving some information a little bit later about how to connect with me on that level. But for tonight, we are going to dive right in and start talking about what it means to get out of cancer, out of crisis mode. So hi, Jill. It's really good to have you here. Thank you so much for being here. Hi, Anne Marie. Thank you so much for joining. It's good to have you guys. Thank you. The only way that I know that you're here is if you leave me a comment. Even if you leave me a heart or a like, I can't see it. So, but if you leave a comment, I will be able to see that. So thank you everybody for joining in so quickly tonight. So we're going to jump right in because this is a big topic and I want to make sure that we, hi Donna, it's good to see you. Hi Ellie. Oh, yay, Ellie, you found it. Yay. So I want to jump right in and really share with you from my heart tonight about what I know about getting out of crisis mode. So most likely when you were diagnosed, I don't know too many people that this would not be true for, if any, actually, of all the people I've worked with cancer. I'm pretty sure that this happened to all of us. When we were told that we have cancer, that it started a series of events in our lives that felt like a crisis, and in most cases were a really serious crisis to us. There was a lot of emotional reactions. Some of those, overwhelm is a big one. We get overwhelmed with the information that is being thrown at us. Some people use the term drinking from a fire hose, and cancer can definitely feel like that, like we're drinking from a fire hose. Fear, of course, is a big one. And being told that we have cancer, that is a big emotion that most of us deal with. We fear for a lot of things. We fear for the quality of our life. We fear for the quantity of our life. We fear for how it's going to affect our family, how it's going to affect our finances, how it's going to affect our community that we live in. All of those things are driven by that big fear factor that we get. Anger is also something that a lot of people deal with. They're angry about their diagnosis. I know for me personally, I was pissed that I had cancer. How in the world could this possibly happen to me? I am so diligent with my health, and how in the world could I have cancer? I was ticked off, and I'm not afraid to admit it. Sadness is something that sadness and depression is something that a lot of people, especially in the wake of cancer, deal with. It's very common for people to feel depressed or sad during the process or even after the process. Guilt is something that a lot of people struggle with. And of course, depression, which I mentioned already. These are all emotions that we deal with that put our lives in a crisis mode. We are like, now what do I do? And I will tell you, we are never rational when we are in crisis mode. There is no good decisions ever made typically in crisis mode. And if they were, they're luck, right? And so it's really important that not that you don't experience crisis mode, but that you get out of crisis mode as quickly as possible so that you can think rationally and so that you can make good decisions about how to move forward in your treatment path. There's a quote here. I'm going to read it to you. I have it written down. This was actually LBJ said this in the wake of of the Oh, this is a long story to try to tell, but in the wake of the Russians launching Sputnik into orbit, LBJ said there are never any solutions in panic. Progress is only made with bold decisions by cool heads. And I love that because there is so much truth when we think about trying to make a decision when we are in crisis mode, right? Hi, Michelle. It's good to have you here. And so, crisis is something that we all face in our life. At some point in our life, there is going to be calamity. If you are a human being on this planet and you are existing here alive, there is going to be some calamity at some point. At some point, you are going to face a crisis in your life. We all have it. You cannot, it's a balance in life. You cannot have light without dark. You cannot have love without hate. You cannot have ups without downs. It's impossible. It's called polarity. And so at some point in our lives, we are going to face a crisis. And we are specifically talking about being diagnosed with cancer or having active cancer, going through active cancer treatments, even post-cancer, and what this creates in our lives. So getting out of crisis mode is important as possible, as quickly as possible, so that you can make good decisions about your life moving forward, right? And I will tell you that cancer is right up there with loss of someone significant in your life. So a spouse, a parent, a child. Being diagnosed with cancer creates the same kind of stress response in the body of those types of losses. It's also been attributed to or compared to being physically assaulted. Hi, Rosette. Being physically assaulted, that's a pretty serious crisis, right? And so it is right up there with some of the biggies of creating negative emotions and negative response and emergency response in our minds. And so when we are faced with a personal crisis, when we are staring down the barrel of a gun called cancer, okay? When we're faced with that personal crisis, we all tend to start to think about what we don't want to happen in that circumstance, right? So what are some examples of things that we don't want to happen? I'm sorry, I almost misspoke there. And so I wanted to make sure I correct that. But let me just read it because it's in my notes. So let me make sure that you have a full, clear understanding and I'm not stuttering around. When we are faced with a personal crisis, we tend to focus on what we don't want to happen. We put our energy into thinking about chemo, into surgery. Hey, Jody. Hi, Charlene. It's good to have you guys. Thank you so much for being here. You know, what we don't want to have surgery. We don't want to have radiation. You know, we don't want to lose our hair. We don't want to be sick. We don't want people to look at us like we have cancer. We don't want people to feel sorry for us. We don't want to be depressed. You know, and we put all of our energy thinking about those things that we don't want to happen. We don't want to die. But in reality, where we focus our attention is where our energy will flow. What you focus on, you create more of. Wait, what? Let me say that again. What you focus on, you create more of. So if you are spending all of your time focusing on what you don't want to happen, guess what happens? What you don't want to happen. Right? You don't want the chemo, you don't want the radiation, you don't want the cancer. But we tend to focus on all those negative things. We tend to think about all the things that we don't want to happen in our lives. But in reality, the best way to get out of crisis mode, any type of crisis, the best way to get out of crisis mode is to focus on what we do want to happen in our lives. So when you redirect that energy to the things that you do want to happen, as opposed to the things that you don't want to happen, Okay. You begin a different response in the body. When you direct that energy towards the things that you do want to happen in your life, you don't want cancer anymore. You want to be healed. You want to do well through surgery. You want surgery to be effective. You want chemotherapy to be effective. You don't want chemotherapy at all, right? You focus on never having cancer again. You focus on what your life looks like when you're past this cancer diagnosis. You focus on doing well during treatments instead of being sick during treatments. You focus on living a long, healthy life. You focus on gaining perspective of what this cancer diagnosis has taught you in this process. When you begin to think about those things, and this isn't just about being positive, this is about redirecting your energy, focusing on the things that you do want to happen. And just like when you focus on what you don't want to happen, where you put your attention, your energy flows. What you focus on, you create more of. Make sense? You're welcome, Charlene. Rosette said, yeah, putting it to practice. It is kind of scary when you think about it. Having these mindset shifts are very powerful. And this pertains to all types of things in our lives. So as a business owner, because that's what I am. You're welcome, Anne-Marie. That's what I am. I'm a business owner. I coach people for a living. I am a professional cancer coach. That's what I do for a living. I make money doing that. And so as an entrepreneur, it was very scary for me to leave a very cushy lifestyle with a salary working for somebody else and coming into being an entrepreneur and following my heart. And if I had focused on all the things that could go wrong in that process, all the times that I might fail, all the people that I couldn't help, if I focused on all the money that I would spend on education and time and energy, and what if it fails? If I had focused on that, I wouldn't be here with you today as a cancer coach. I would be back doing what I did before. But instead, I chose to focus on the people that I could serve and the people that I could love through this process, that I could stand side by side with and say, I got you. When you got a problem, I got your back. I have a solution. I can help you through this. And just like all of you saying here tonight, man, I needed that tonight. Man, I needed to hear that tonight. If I focused on all the ways I could fail, I would never be here to share with you from my heart tonight. And your cancer journey is no different. Your health journey is no different. You must focus on all the ways that you can succeed and not focus on all the ways that you can fail. What you focus on, you will produce more of. Whether it's money, whether it's health, whether it's relationships, whether it's peace or joy or love, or all those other negative emotions. Right? Oh, thank you, Rosette. That's so sweet. Thank you, Anne-Marie. I love you both dearly. So here's 3 realizations that you must have if you want to get out of crisis mode. You need to have a come to Jesus moment with yourself and say, I am done being, I just got chill bumps. I am done being in crisis mode. How do I fix this? And here's 3 realizations that you need, particularly when we're thinking about cancer and your health. The first realization is that you have to realize when you are mismanaging your emotions and your stress levels. When you have a mismanagement of your emotions and your stress levels, you are in full on crisis mode, and you need to realize that you need to gain control of that. We get addicted to the bad life. And I know a lot of you just got insulted. You're like, I would never be addicted to the bad things in my life. Yes, you are. We get addicted to feeling poorly. We normalize pains in our knees and pains in our back, pains in our shoulders, pains in our hips, bad digestion, poor eyesight, bad sex drive, cancer. We normalize it and we get addicted to that feeling, to that emotion, whether it's physical or emotional. We get addicted to the bad life. We get comfortable with negative emotions. And you know why this happens? It is because it is easier to live in that bad life and with that pain or that negative emotion than it is to change it. Every single person I work with is very enthusiastic about changing their diet. And that is a massive part about what I do. But if you come here and listen to me on Tuesday nights, you know that I rarely speak about diet. And it's because it's just one tiny piece of the puzzle to healing your life. Every time I ask somebody to deal with their negative emotions and to change their mindset, I get, I don't want to. It's hard. I'm comfortable where I'm at. I don't want to change that. You know it's true. For those of you that are my clients in here, I am bold enough to say that in front of you. Every single one of you know that it's true. It is hard to change those mindsets. It is hard to get out of those belief systems. It is hard to break our addiction to the bad life, to the pain, to the struggle, especially when we've normalized it, especially when we lived with it for a long time in our lives. It is hard, and it's harder sometimes even than the cancer is. We're willing to change our diet. We're willing to do physical things. I'm willing to make those changes, but don't ask me what I want in my life. Don't ask me about what my biggest dream is. I don't know what that is. Don't ask me to identify why I'm working so hard to live. That's hard. But until you figure out why and how you are mismanaging those negative emotions and stress in your life, you are going to remain in the pattern of being sick. And if it's not cancer, it will be something else. You have to change your belief systems, and it's hard. You have to change the way that you do things if you want to be out of crisis mode. So that is number one. Realize you must have a grip on how you're managing your negative emotions and your stress in your life. All right? Tommy's, I'm just now reading your comments over here. You guys are priceless. Thank you. Number two, you must realize that you have to change if you want to get well. And I'm not talking about just changing. I'm not just talking about changing your diet. I'm not just talking about drinking green juices. I'm not just talking about taking supplements. I'm talking about you got to change. If you knew me 7 years ago or let's say 8 years ago before my cancer diagnosis, and you knew me today, you would know that I am a completely different woman. I have stepped away from my insecurities. I have stared them in the face and said, I don't care. I don't care. My mission is not to be hiding somewhere because I can't spell and because I don't read well. That's not my mission. I can't be hiding behind that. Dyslexic. And so I used to really hide behind that, and I let it keep me in jail for a long, long time. I've always been very successful in my careers, but to think about being on my own and in public where I had to explain to everybody why I was misspelling everything and why things came out this way on paper or whatever, and how many times you have to proofread my stuff before it goes out the door. But I don't let it hold me back anymore. I'm a different woman. I used to be very cynical. I had a heart of stone, cynicism like you would not believe. Always really positive, always really upbeat, always very happy. But man, I could slice you with my razor sharp tongue, either in front of your face or behind your back. I'm not that girl anymore. She died when cancer died. I had to change. You have to realize that you have to change to be well. The definition of ignorance or stupidity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. You can't do that. We're talking about your life here. You don't have an opportunity. That comfort has now been taken away. You must change if you want to heal. This is not about just one part of your life. This is not about just fixing one thing. Cancer did not come because of one specific thing in your life. It came because of many things in your life. And what if it came from a source of love and not a source of evil or a source of hate? What if it came as a messenger? What if it was here to teach you something about yourself that you desperately needed to know? Would you want to miss that opportunity? No, you would not. You would want to know what that thing is, or things. For me, it was things. It was a multitude of things. It was a 180 in my life. Who do you need to become to heal your life? Oh, I thought Penny was going to bark. Who do you need to become to heal your life? That is a question you need to ask yourself. Do you need to be more confident? Do you need to be more calm? Do you need to be more resolute? Do you need to be more brave? Do you need to be less angry? Do you need to be less suspicious? Do you need to have less criticism for others? That was me. That was me. That was me. Who do you need to become to heal your life? What if this was an opportunity to heal your entire life? Not just the cancer. What if that was just one of the benefits? How wonderful would that be? What an opportunity. I always say if you could take the perspective that cancer gives you in your life and you could bottle it somehow and sell it, that perspective, whoever could do that would be a billionaire. It's a massive gift. The perspective that cancer gives you. Stop sweating the small stuff. How many of you have said that? Stop sweating the small stuff now. Cancer gives you that perspective if you allow it. Who do you need to become to heal your life? Realizing that you must change to get well. That's number 2. Number 3, realize that you must program. I have to read this because this is kind of a long one. Realize you must program your brain for the future instead of the past. Comfortable is in the past, right? That comfortable, like, I don't care if it's bad or not. I'm comfortable here. And to change makes me uncomfortable. To do something different makes me uncomfortable. I just said to one of my clients this afternoon, you must be comfortable being uncomfortable. Nothing extraordinary ever happens in your comfort zone. Nothing. If you want an extraordinary life, And for some of you, extraordinary life means that you don't have cancer anymore. That would be extraordinary. Then you must be willing to step outside of that comfort zone and do things that maybe aren't so comfortable. For me, this was all about eating vegetables. It was a physical reaction that I had. I had to be comfortable. I had to figure out a way to get more vegetables if I wanted to heal my body. This was a mindset issue. I hated most vegetables. The Thanksgiving before I was diagnosed at Christmas time. The Thanksgiving before Christmas, my husband asked me to buy fresh Brussels sprouts and to figure out how to cook them for Thanksgiving because his mom used to do that for Thanksgiving and he wanted me to do it. And I was like, ugh. I called them Barbie cabbages. I still do because I saw them in the grocery store when I was a little girl. I was like, Mom, they're Barbie-sized cabbages. I just was like in love with them because of that, but not to eat them because I wanted them as a toy. And so, but I was like, Barbie cabbages? Ugh. And the night that I cooked them for our Thanksgiving dinner, they made me gag. When they were cooking, I was like, oh my gosh, who eats this stuff? This is disgusting. I had to have a mindset change. I had to change who I was. 42 years of who I was, a pattern of eating. I had to change it to live my life without cancer. Was it an easy change? God, no. I went on to become a plant-based chef. I had to take a professional course to teach me how to cook vegetables so I would eat them. It was a struggle. I gagged my way through so many things. The first time that I drank a smoothie, I almost threw up. It grossed me out so bad. I didn't eat that stuff, but I had a professional telling me, if you want to change, you got to change your diet. And I had to work on it. It was work and I had to change. I had to change who I am. And now I am like super foodie. Now I seek out like amazing vegetable recipes and all the different types of vegetables and fruits and things that I can eat. And what does that taste like? And how do you prepare that? And how do you make that? Now I'm a plant-based chef and I teach my clients how to eat these foods. So you must get out. You must realize that your brain needs to switch the programming from the past and get into the future. Here's one of my favorite tips under that little umbrella is that rehearsing who you want to be. Rehearsing, taking a moment to visualize what you want to be, who you want to be. Maybe it's somebody that you look up to. Maybe it's somebody that you see and you're like, man, I would like more of that. And oh, there goes Penny Lane. We got a little poodle visit there. Maybe you respect somebody and you think, I want to be more like them. How do I do that? And you visualize yourself like that. Maybe that's where it has to start. But rehearsing who you want to be. Maybe you want to be better at not being grumpy. And so you start by rehearsing just smiling at strangers, making a conscious effort. This was me also. I was always just a little grumpy. And so rehearsing smiling at strangers. Hi, saying hello. Hi, how are you? Looking them in the eyes. Terrible at that. I was terrible at that. Now I'm like super eye connector. Like I'm like, look at me. That's valuable to me. It's an asset. It's an ally in my journey. I had to change who I was going to become. So I'm going to leave you with this. What is the one step that you can take today? I'm not talking about next week. I'm not talking about, I'll think about it tomorrow. I'm talking about today. What is the one step that you can take today to become more of who you want to be so that you can heal your life? What is that thing? What propels you in that direction? It may be as simple as booking a call with me. Maybe you've been thinking about it. I need to talk to this woman. I need to talk to her. I need to break the silence. I need to book a call with her. I know I can do it. I know it's free. I know that, that it's no strings attached. I just need to book that call with her and talk to her. Maybe it's that. Maybe you haven't even listened to my webinar, my free training on 5 steps to becoming the boss of your cancer. There's no hook there. The only thing that's there at the end there's a ton of information, and then there's a tag at the end if you want to book a call with me. That's it. There's nothing to buy. I'm not selling anything there. There's no gimmicks. Maybe it is calling your doctor and getting some clarity on, something that you're unclear about. Maybe it's sitting down with your husband and getting crystal clear on how you want to change your life, or your wife, how you want your life to change and what direction you want it to go in. Maybe it's talking with your children about how you need support. Maybe it's asking for help in the first place. Maybe it's just sitting down and saying, I want to be different, and I recognize that. What is the first step I need to take? So that is all I have for you guys this evening. Thank you so much for being here. I am going to go back and read some comments because I've not been looking at them because I was kind of like on a roll. So I just was letting them stream by. I'm going to go back and look at some comments here. While I'm doing that, and I'll read them aloud. While I'm doing that, if you have questions about tonight's broadcast, or just questions in general about cancer or health, you're welcome to type those in the comments. I'm going to take a few minutes before I end this tonight and answer those questions. If you're popping out, thank you so much for being here. It is always a pleasure to come here with you on Tuesday evenings to inspire you and to love you through this process. If you have not already found a way to reach out and to book a call with me, I'm just going to put a link up right now that will give you that opportunity. If you have not watched the training, 5 steps to becoming a cancer boss, then I'll put a link up for that as well.